Hello, listener. Welcome back. Today, Wendy and I are excited to talk with you about finally moving forward after letting go. It's a big piece of the puzzle, and it's one that we are excited to talk to you about so that you can start moving forward in your journey. But before we get started, I do want to give some gratitude and shout out to a couple of people who emailed in. So one is Judy. Hey, Judy. It's
Hey,
always
Mom.
so excited to get your email. Uh, Julie was fascinated by how the astrology was spot on for both of us, which is something you, it is a big deal.
Yeah, I was surprised that you would really be into that. But when you read it and it was so accurate, I mean, really, you were a politician?
Yeah, you couldn't look away.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for reaching out. I hope everybody else found that interesting. Hopefully some of you went to Cafe Astrology and got your own reports. And Judy talked about the importance of having a group of people around you, building your community to share your journey with. And you know what, Judy, thanks for pointing out that we did provide a lot of options for listeners to gain support, guidance, and validation. So for some general things and for some specific guidance. So that is amazing because that is what we were hoping to do with this podcast. And the fact that you saw it is wonderful. We had another listener reach out as well. I think it's so important that you take time to sit and look at how things connect in your life. And this particular listener took the opportunity to do that, and then it caused me to sit back and ponder about my life, because what are the chances that this listener has recently moved to none other than Chelsea, Michigan? So that's very exciting because that means I now have a new constituent as the mayor of Chelsea. So welcome, welcome. This email was also very lovely, and she talks a lot about the micro joys that she finds, and whether it's in your feral cats or your cup of coffee, it what matters is how it makes you feel. So we're glad that she got a chance to think about that and plug in so that she can find extra joy when she's doing it, be mindful about it. And then, change of scenery is sometimes all you need. So I hope Chelsea is, a great fit for you. We've got some wonderful cats that roam, so you'll see a lot more. Um, and maybe we'll even get to run into each other, maybe at Agricole or Zuzu's or something one day. That would be fantastic.
I love what she said. She wrote, I'm used to change, but I miss joy and purpose, and I'm actively trying to find these things. So, hello, your podcast. Thank you.
We say hello right back.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Change is hard, and if you find the joy in it, it will be a little bit easier.
Yes. Also, I won't, well, I guess we could say her first name, Marietta. Thank you.
Yeah.
Marietta, you had written that I had mentioned in my readings with you about a small, short woman with a cane who kept peeking around the corner, and I had no idea who you were talking about. You wrote, I've since come to find out that my great-grandmother, gone before I was born, was apparently very psychic and very slight and ended up having a cane after a serious fall. She writes, this I found out after an aunt in California started calling me and sharing these family details with me. This unknown family relative fits your description in many things, including our move to Chelsea, can be attributed to her influence, I believe. And I'm bringing this up just to um, remind people that sometimes in readings, what I'll see is it can be in the future, and it doesn't always make sense in the moment. But I love that this person and other people hold on to what does come through, and many of the things, they will just eventually make sense, and you'll kind of put the pieces together. It's always like putting little pieces of your life's, puzzle and pie together. Yeah, thanks for saying that.
Really appreciate that you guys wrote in. Thank you to Marietta's great grandma for bringing her to Chelsea. We're excited to have her, and appreciate you and Judy making the time to reach out to us. All right. Gratitude all around, and let's transition into talking about moving forward after letting go.
Yes, it's not always a single leap, right? When you decide to move forward, it doesn't have to feel like you're jumping the Grand Canyon, right? Which I think a lot of the time will put pressure on ourselves. We talked about that in the last episode, how we need to release that and timing. And it's actually in our quiet daily practices where we're making those small shifts and there's those small changes. So it's not always going to look like a big single leap. Sometimes it might. I mean, sometimes you might be offered a job and the next thing you know, you're moving from Boston to San Francisco, in a very short period of time. But generally, this is going to look like quiet daily practice, and just it's so important to balance your that self-compassion with whatever action needs to be taken next.
Sometimes when you don't know what to do, I find that scanning your environment and then finding something that you can do to change your environment is helpful.
Hmm.
I have two small children, so our house definitely looks lived in. Am I going to clean the whole thing at one time? No. I am going to find the spot on the counter where I pile everything up, and I'm just going to manage that. And if I can clean that, everything else might still be a wreck, but I feel so much better and clearer. It's something simple that you can do. It helps you and it helps the people around you if you're tidying your space
Yes.
or freshening it up.
Or if you're going through a really major change, like say you've just been through a divorce or something, and you're literally changing your environment.
Mhm.
It's the past. Places can trigger our past, do you know? Like
Yeah.
it could be a little thing where I just need to get away from the toys and the kids and like get some perspective. But sometimes, it's something really big like that and you're you can be triggered by the environment. So it's important to clean your space still,
Mhm.
unclutter still, release what kept you too tied to the past, so that you can change your routine, bring yourself to your present self. Maybe you just change the room entirely. Do you ever notice that when you do go through a really big change?
Oh, yeah,
You'll
rearrange the
completely,
furniture.
yeah,
Mhm.
you'll completely change the physical environment that you're in.
Mhm.
Somehow we know in our body, like this is a healthy thing to do. Um, and around that, it's important to create a new normal routine for yourself in that new space because structure will give you the safety that you need. Structure will create the safety that you're looking for.
Mhm. I think you have to be cognizant of thinking. Whether you're in a space where you finally feel like you can let go, or if you haven't quite gotten there, either way, there's still this opportunity for you to just constantly be going through your mind and, "Oh, am I supposed to do this? Should I have taken that job? Should I have gone
Mm.
here? Should I have gotten bangs?" Whatever whatever it happens to be, you have to.
Ruminating on the
Yes,
past.
yeah, you have to find a way to break that cycle so that new things can come in. And I found in the bowels of the internet one night this fantastic tool. It was called the AHA method. So I
Hmm.
was struggling because I was a new mom. I felt overwhelmed, and I'm watching, my husband just lay on the couch while I'm chopping the vegetables. And the night before had Googled like how not to murder your husband while they're sleeping in my delirious state. And that's when I found this AHA method. And it stands for acknowledge, halt, and take action. And I don't know how I absorbed it in the middle of the night, but the next night comes around and I'm getting very upset and I'm just in the loop in my head about, gosh, I'm so overwhelmed and I have all this stuff to do. And he's just laying on the couch. And it just popped into my head. I was like, aha, acknowledge. Yes, I'm stuck in this loop. And then I started kind of thinking about all the loops I get stuck in.
Mm.
But then I was like, wait a minute, there's more to it. Halt. Just stop thinking about it. And the next thing is take action. So, what else can I do to make this stop? And you know what I did? I was like, hey, I need your help. You know what happened? He got up off the couch and he came to help.
Amazing things happen when we
Yes.
when we ask for that help and we
Mhm.
get stuck in our ruminating and we get stuck in the past. You can train your brain to visit the past and not live in it,
Yes.
right? And in that moment, you're also training your brain. I want to be in the present. You recognize that you need help in that moment
Mhm.
and you move forward in it. You're not dwelling any longer in the past. I'm always reminded of one of my favorite quotes from A Course in Miracles that I think I've mentioned here. We are meant to look at, and this is a, a biblical reference, but it's really a metaphor for anyone and anything. We are meant to look at the crucifixion, meaning the pain of our lives, the deep pain in our lives, but not dwell there, because there is deep pain in our pasts that we can attach to. For there is always a resurrection. So we are not meant to forever dwell in the pain. We are meant to feel it. We are meant to look at it. We're not meant to look away in those moments, but we're meant to also not dwell there and move forward because there is always a new day. There's always a new day for you. It's interesting because in a more that's a spiritual piece, but in a more scientific piece, there's a lot of talk about neuroplasticity
So
and the
important.
brain and how it works. And our brains, when we experience emotional loss, will feel it like a physical pain. And it's why letting go feels so physical. It feels like such a physical experience when we're kind of wired to seek closure. And when change is really quick or something happens very quickly in terms of change, our brain fires on old neural pathways. And that's where neuroplasticity comes in. Neuroplasticity is the creating new pathways with new behaviors and new routines, small, repetitive actions, creating new experiences. It could be a new way that you drive to work. It could be a new, way that you begin to work with your diet or let go of certain patterns that you've become aware of in your relationships with other people. It can be little things, it can be big things, but it often starts with those little shifts.
I
Yeah.
changed my email signature. This was years ago. That was a huge shift in the way that I approached work after that.
That makes a lot of sense. That is so fascinating because it is connected to your identity.
Yeah. And we have to occasionally rebuild our identity. Nice segue there. And that starts with those little changes and not getting stuck in the past. And it could go either way, right? So if you're a successful business owner and then you get pregnant and then COVID hits and your business tanks and then you start substitute teaching, that wasn't, I couldn't look at that as a backtrack. I had to look at that as a way to move forward and be
Yes.
proud that I was able to make the change and see that I could add value somewhere. It could be, you hear stories all the time about people who are just burnt out in the corporate world and then they decide to start a gardening business.
Table restaurant.
Yeah, something totally different.
Right.
And that requires you to break out of the habits that you've been so comfortable, or even the lifestyle that you've been accustomed to. And it's a huge shift, but it's an important piece in order to get over the hump to make
Yes.
the next thing happen.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I looked up suggested exercises also because I loved your aha. And there are some suggested exercises to work with your brain to that have zero to do with other people and their past with you. It's important. It's called the I am exercise, where you list 10 things that have nothing to do with other people and um, your past, what you're wanting to change. And it'll shift you from your loss, the feelings of loss, to that identity. It'll be value based. I am this. I am that. I am.
That's powerful.
I am a mother. I am a creator of this. I am a sailor. I am whatever these things are. I am living with integrity. I am all these things that, it's important to look at who you are now, who is your value base. I mean, what about you is that this is all value-based things for you. Those top 10 things, it's all connected.
Can it be things that you want to be too, as a way of manifesting?
I think so. Why not? You can create I am because manifestation works in the present moment. Anytime you're in the lack thinking of, you almost do, you have to say, I have this much money or I have this beautiful relationship that I want. Because whenever you're thinking about the lack or what you don't have, it blocks the energy. It can't come to you.
Good point.
So yeah, absolutely. I think you can include those things too.
Awesome.
Because a lot of the time we're in our manifesting, well, I would like to live in this place, but your dominant thoughts are in how often you're not living in that place. It's a real practice.
It is.
There's nothing airy-fairy about some of this work. It's a real practice to shift it and say, no, I see myself in this situation, whatever that situation is for you. And then, of course, the divine's going to make it even better, give you ideas that are even better than that for yourself. You know, you might think it's London and it might be Portugal.
Right. Well, I'm going to try that exercise this evening.
And the aha is really great for people too, because it is about taking action. It is about being intentional.
It's exhausting to be stuck in that loop. It's less energy to think of an action to stop the loop than it is to just stay stuck in the loop.
Yes, yes. You know, when we're letting go too, you know, it leads to, there's a process of letting go. Like you have to really let yourself feel it. Like feel the change, feel the loss, feel feel the letting go. And not avoid it. You know, it's a version of looking at that past, but you're not meant to dwell there. But you do want to look at it and process the letting go.
I've been doing this obviously with littles and teaching them how to feel their feelings.
Oh, so good.
And
so good.
It hurts to watch it, but at the same time, I'm so proud of both of us for sitting there and letting it happen. And the tools that I've been using with them for quite a while, you draw a picture of yourself and show me where you feel this feeling. What color is it? What shape is it? If it had a face, what would it look like? And it's a nicer way, I guess, if you're going to have to sit in that yuck.
Yeah.
And instead of just stewing on it, you're giving it some attributes so you can talk about it.
Yes. Could we do that as adults too?
Oh,
like get out some colored pencils or crayons, you know, and just what if we drew ourselves? This is where I am now. This is how I'm feeling now. Okay, this is what I want to be feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe you put them side by side as an adult. That could be really useful for grown-ups too. Yeah, really super powerful for grown-ups.
That goes along though with setting boundaries. So none of these things are easy, but they're required in order to move forward.
Yeah, you want to know, like when you're talking about these exercises, this is who I am.
Absolutely.
Owning it. Yeah. That's how it's connected to. Now, how do you set boundaries? And
that gives you the strength to set those boundaries.
Yes. Yeah.
People will not be pleased when you are setting boundaries if they know they can't take advantage of you anymore, or they're not going to get what they think they need. So you need that muscle in your brain to tell you that that's okay to set these boundaries.
No bullying allowed.
Exactly. So new boundaries could be new practices of gratitude for what you have released. It could be you're no longer going to maybe you have to cut somebody out of your life, or at least approach them differently so that they're not draining your energy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that a lot, and we have in other podcasts too. But it's really important, I think, to keep bringing it up because it's such an important piece of this is where you want to put your energy, and you're putting it there. Not this, I want to put my energy to the right, but I'm putting it to the left. It's like, how do you stay on course, making sure you're putting it to the right? It's having those boundaries, and not just other people, with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And giving yourself grace, because if you happen to have a moment of weakness and you let your guard down, you can come back. You're building your muscle, right? If you do squats, you can only do so many in time until your legs give out. But that just means the next time you go back and you do squats, you can do more.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, we think about loss after we've processed it and we've put some of those boundaries in place. We think about loss a lot, like what we've had to let go of. Again, you want to keep moving forward. One of the ways you're going to keep able to move forward, be able to move forward, is remembering all of the gains that you're moving toward. You know, sometimes if someone loses someone in my practice, I say, it's really important for us to look at the loyalty of the love you have for them, not just the love that you feel loss about in their passing. So that feels connected to me. You want to feel the love about what is to come, the love about what are you gaining, the love, what are you moving toward now that you've released and let go of some of these, what was part of your identity or part of your life that no longer did serve. And then from there, you get to really be, seeking and having a relationship with a newfound purpose that at its best is going to lead you to sharing that with others and being of service to others. That's something we both really do know a lot about. We have experienced this for years and years and years, and we know the benefit of letting certain situations or people go so that we could move forward and gain even more than what we lost. But it's hard to sometimes see that when you're in the middle of it.
The guy that plays Spider-Man, maybe? Yeah, he is married to Zendaya.
Oh God.
I can't think of his name, but really great guy. So sorry. I will remember it eventually. But I heard him say something so beautiful on a talk show because he had lost his mom. And he started to look at grief as just unexpressed love. So it's not something horrible, and that's a way to help sit in it. And then also that talks about what you do have and what you can do with that love, because it doesn't just go away. That makes me think about people who have lost loved ones and then start scholarships or foundations.
Yeah, amazing things. I've seen this happen so often. I have a client who lost a wife. They were both pilots, and he has since created a scholarship to speak to what you're speaking for young female pilots. And it started as just a few, and now we're up to several. It's very exciting what can happen from what you could only perceive at the time as a desperate loss, a terrible loss. There's always something beautiful that comes from deep, even the deepest grief and the deepest loss. It won't make sense to you when you're in the middle of it, but if you can trust and just kind of keep riding the wave forward, you will give your life the opportunity to be shown what that next better thing is.
That speaks to the need to take small action steps.
Yes.
If you've lost a loved one, you're probably not in the mood to head down to the women's basketball championship, which is happening today. But, it might just be maybe you walk into the kitchen and you turn on the TV and you listen to it while you feed yourself. Sustain yourself. Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes early so you can do some stretching to start your day to help with your physical health. It doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be jumping the Grand Canyon. It's these small things that add up. And you have to think about them as big, important pieces, even though it might not look like that.
Yes. And celebrate your small victories.
Absolutely.
Celebrate them. And this is going to feel new. You'll have these new small victories in this new direction. And you will get, I read somewhere that you two get more clarity from action than even thought, right? You get the clarity as you do. So what's that Nike commercial that we used to be on, like feel the fear and do it anyway, as long as you're doing something positive, high vibe, good for yourself and others. Wow. I can't wait for you to see what happens. I really can't wait for you to see what happens. Wherever you are, whatever that means to you. And that, we'd love to hear some of the journeys you're on, some of these, email us right in, let us know, and we can more specifically even address, helping you on your specific journey.
And celebrate with you.
Absolutely. Celebrate your victories there. That's why it's so important to create really positive thoughts about what you're changing. This might sound kind of funny, but I've maybe mentioned this before. I'm a really big fan of when I'm learning something new, or I'm in the process of a new change, or accepting a new way of thinking, or whatever. I put sticky notes up, wherever I'm getting ready in the morning. So, yours might say, I'm so grateful for this new path, bringing that gratitude in. I'm grateful for this new path. I'm going to have a happy day today. sometimes like my one that says, let him love you. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you want to bring these things and things you want to embrace, allowing them. Even when life's good, I'm surprised at how often, like sometimes I won't allow some of
Right.
that, I would say most of the time. But maybe with certain people, certain situations, it's harder than others.
I have found that a helpful way to see how far you've come and appreciate your success is practicing gratitude for not only the present, but the past. So I've
Yes.
started when I'm feeling just ick and stuck
Mm,
and not sure what to do, I will sit down and it doesn't take a lot of time and just think about what would 10-year-old Kate think about 44-year-old Kate right now?
mm, yeah.
What would her opinion of all the stuff from then until now be and see where we're at? And that always makes me feel
I
good.
think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. You're acknowledging these different versions of yourself throughout your life. And it's kind of fun sometimes. I remember Wayne Dyer, this author, a spiritual author, once he put up this line of photographs of himself from age, from a baby to whatever he lived to, 80 or something. And it's interesting to look at these different versions of ourselves emotionally, but also physically, um, mentally, and spiritually. It's so interesting. If you ever get stuck though, and you're really needing support, because change can be really uncomfortable, and it's important to remember that change, even when it's fantastic, is going to be uncomfortable. Um, and that's okay. Like that's just part of it.
It's just because you've never done it before.
Yeah, you've never done it before. I remember thinking about this is silly, but when Kate Middleton married into the royal, I remember thinking, whoa, that's just gonna be a lot of change for her,
Mhm.
right? And and she's amazing in that role. But that can't, even though it was for the better, I would think, for her and her life and her family and what she's created, it could not have been very, very comfortable. Or I have clients who I think I've mentioned have won the lotto, and that change is not as comfortable as you would think. It sometimes ends in disaster and they have to just start over again, right? But the change is actually always really, really good for you. But if you ever get depressed or stuck and you're seeking, you're not, you seek out a therapist. Seek out help. Don't resist being changed by change. Does that make sense?
That's really powerful.
Yeah. Like
Dang.
don't resist being changed by change.
You need a magnet that says that. We need show merch now.
We do have some good ones.
We do.
Um,
I digress, sorry.
remembering that change, it doesn't mean that something's wrong. It's always a sign when you're uncomfortable that you're on the right new track. Right? What's that saying that the only thing constant is change?
Yep.
And I remember Alan Watts said, the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Let it be fantastic for you.
I can't see anything but the fun part of starting a new career or learning a new dance or learning how to play pickleball.
Yeah. Or, sometimes I think about, because a lot of my family is overseas, like having a place overseas. So much would go into that. Even if I were to do that part of the time,
Mm-hmm.
it would be a huge change. It would not be a necessarily comfortable change. There would be a lot of steps that were difficult. So you don't want to avoid the discomfort or even just the difficulty of the tasks to get there. You want to really embrace change. We're here to evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
How can we evolve without change?
I've made it a goal to feel uncomfortable at least 3 times a week.
That's pretty good. I think I feel like we're but it's like, we support you in everything that you're going through, that you perceive as a fantastic change or you perceive as a really difficult change. What's interesting is either way they lead to better.
Right.
I really believe that from a spiritual perspective. I know that all of those changes, good or bad, certainly have the opportunity to lead to better, and ultimately do lead to something beautiful, even if you can't see it. So it's allowing change to, kind of accepting that this is just going to be part of our lives.
That it is not good, it's not bad, it just is. And if life were just easy, what would be the fun? There would be no growth, there would be no change.
It's funny.
We would still be just cave people rubbing flint rock together.
And yet we're always seeking just the easiest of days, the easiest of days, When we just acceptance is love. So accepting that change is inevitable and just that, I think about the mandalas and that were created, Tibetan mandalas, beautiful,
Yes.
beautiful. And the wind would come and blow away hours and hours of beautiful work. And yet that beauty remains. Nothing changes that. It's sort of like love remains. Nothing changes that. Even if circumstances do, if there was love in your life with someone, that doesn't go away. And that's one of the greatest things I think. That's what matters the most.
I'm getting a little teary-eyed thinking about that. That's
Aw.
You're right, it does. Something good to remember and hold on to.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, that we won't let go, but the other stuff we will let go of.
Yeah.
So we can move forward.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot to let go of to kind of just clear space, right? To clear a path for what is new for you and what change is meaningful and what you're creating as you're moving forward. There's going to be a lot of change and there's going to be discomfort, but ultimately it's going to be gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning. Can't wait. Do you want to wrap up?
Yeah.
Should we call it the end?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that obviously, again, you guys took something, you have one thing that you can walk away with and try to implement this next week. And then please, please, please write us an email and tell us about it. We want to celebrate you and we want to be good stewards of this podcast.
Yeah. And if you have ideas about, sorry, I didn't mean,
no,
let's just get excited. And if you have ideas about topics related to living life purposefully, let us know that too. And we'll look forward to the next time.
Absolutely. Can't wait. See you soon.
Bye.